It's the Riot Podcast. Good Monday, April 24th to you. A question that's kind of related to something that we talked about in the podcast today. If you had to choose a last name to go with your first name, you could change your last name to anything you want.
Ooh, what would it be?
But you can't change your first name. What would your last name be?
Such a big question. I mean, you don't possibly think that I'm just over here going, I really wish.
I think you can come with a good one.
I have a last name that I've been waiting on.
I feel like, isn't that what little girls sit around and dream of?
No.
Changing their last name?
No, I don't think so. Which in this story is funny because we talk about, it's not a trend, but it was trending that a lady got married. And so her first and last name are the same.
Yeah.
And she was saying how she just is more traditional, so she wouldn't think of not having her husband's last name, whereas everybody else is like, why would you want the same names? But, you know, this is her.
So what's yours, Isaiah?
I don't know if I have one.
You don't think you do?
I don't think I have one.
You don't have a perfect last name in mind?
I don't know. I like my last name. I think it goes well with my first name.
But we're not going to say the last names on air.
I think mine would be Bossa Nova.
Oh, there
Bossa
you go.
Nova?
Hudson Bossa Nova.
Well, it does have a
Sounds kinda-
ring to it.
Doesn't that sound real cool?
That sounds kind of Slovakian.
Yeah.
Slovakian, huh?
I think so.
Okay.
That's the country I came up with.
I mean, it sounds very important, more European or something, and you sounds not royal, but just maybe like more important than the average person.
I was trying to think if I could come up with ones for you guys.
For our last names. No, what I want to do though is the last name that I married into is a town in Italy.
Oh.
And I want to go there and like check into the hotel and they'd be like, oh, Mrs. Such and Such.
I feel like they wouldn't make as much of a deal out of it.
No, I want them to, because then I think...
You hear the little accent she tried to do? Did you hear that? Is that the accent of the city?
I don't even know.
That's what Italians sound like to
No,
you?
but I think they would be brought up, don't you think?
I think it would be brought up. I think they would say, oh, look at that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's a good
Ma'am,
question.
here's your keys. Go away.
If I found a town with there's definitely a town with my same last name. If I checked into a hotel there, I feel like they wouldn't care.
They wouldn't even bother.
Yeah, I think Nikki's is kind of unique, so
I thought
think it'd be cool.
I thought they'd give me a crown or something and be like, oh, it's our long lost
They'd give me some
royalty.
sort of a gift.
Yeah, maybe the comp the room,
It makes
something
sense.
like that.
It makes sense to
Well,
me.
now everybody knows Nikki's last name is Milan.
Nikki Rome. It's not.
We also talked about going off of that. People go on vacation. It's not what you think it's going to be. Sometimes it's not as great.
Exactly. If Nikki goes to her town in
That's what I'm
Italy,
thinking.
I'll be
they won't fawn
disappointed.
over her last name.
Well, I just want them to fawn over me.
Yeah.
But it's a study just showing that more people are more disappointed in vacations than I think we realize. So what can you do to not be disappointed?
Reduce your expectations.
There you go.
We'll see what the study says, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait and find out.
We also talked about a survey that found that playing an instrument makes you more attractive, but which instrument in specific will make you the sexiest?
I feel like if we do a morning full of surveys and studies and stuff,
Yeah.
we're just going to be disappointed. These
I
are all
know.
things about disappointment and how not good enough, all that.
What do you think is a hobby that could make you really attractive? Because I said that I don't think playing an instrument makes it that cool.
Just so
Yeah,
you
which
think,
we can't go back
and
on.
are we talking about someone who currently plays an instrument? Not because all of us went through
If I-
band.
yeah.
I mean, we
Yeah.
all had that.
If you invite me over and you're saying... you
can still play
Yeah, I
your
can play
instrument.
whatever. You have it in your Tinder picture. You better be able to do it for me. You better be able to bust out that violin right then and there.
Okay.
How much do you need to be able to play though? Because I can play the guitar, right? But I can't like play the guitar. But I can play it because I took guitar classes for a while.
Can you play a song on it?
I can't play an entire song.
Then it
no
doesn't
way.
Okay, then
count.
no,
It
I don't
doesn't
think.
count.
I don't think you're fooling
You know how
anybody.
hard it is to play a whole song.
Do you know
on
what
a
the tough
guitar?
one is though?
Which is why when you meet musicians, it's supposed to be impressive.
Very
Right.
impressive, yeah.
Mine is tough because I know how to play the drums.
Yeah.
Vaguely, but that'd be hard.
What does that even mean?
I mean, I taught myself,
know,
but
you
I
and your
played
guitar?
actually.
Me and my guitar, it sounds like.
But I mean, I could still drum, but how could you, to a non-drummer, if you're playing the drums without a song going with it, how would they know if you're actually able to play or not?
Oh, for I guess for drums it's different. Where like if I play the guitar, you would know right away like
Right.
what song I'm playing.
Or not playing.
If that's the case. Well, be listening to find out. And if you do still play an instrument, that is impressive because none of us remember enough.
Yeah. Wait, so did we want to do a sexy hobby real quick?
Oh, a sexy hobby?
Yeah, what's a sexy
one?
hobby?
What if your hobby was like modeling?
There you go. That's a good hobby.
I think that's probably something like that. Or something uber athletic.
Yeah,
like
that's
very
what I was
athletic,
thinking,
so you're very
sports.
fit. I don't know.
I was going to say like something along the lines of like embroidering.
Decoupage.
Sewing.
Too much.
Anything like that. Cooking. Boom. Cooking.
That's a good one. That's
Winner.
a perfect one.
Probably back in the 1920s, sewing would be a sexy hobby.
That would be an amazing one.
There was probably pioneers being like, I wish I could just find a woman who sews.
That was marriage material.
That's right.
All you had to do was just say you could sew and cook. Yeah, if you could sew and cook, that was always the old school stuff.
Yeah.
Cooking. Boom.
So if you have your picture and you're just cooking,
If you're like, if in your bio it says I'm a really good cook, then that's a for sure flex.
That's all you need.
That is way more valuable than playing the violin.
but I'll tell you, okay, if you play an instrument, just put in the background. So like it's not a focal
Yeah,
point,
don't
but
hold
like
it.
just put the food that you made, and you're gonna get so many people wanting to take you out on a date.
Yeah, it's probably true, but they might ask you to cook for them on the date.
Later
Perfect.
and
Yeah.
play your own romantic music. Well, enjoy the podcast today. Thank you guys for listening. As always, text 877 Radio U if you want us to cover something for tomorrow's podcast.
And we'll catch you next time.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Your For You page would be a lot more fun if it had Hudson, Nikki, and Isaiah. Follow at RadioU Official on TikTok. The Riot. Radio U.
It's time to say goodbye to a giant of the industry, of the Bed Bath & Beyond industry.
So are they all closing, like officially, or is it just bankruptcy, or what is it?
It's bankruptcy for Bed Bath & Beyond, and that means that they anticipate closing all of their stores, which includes not just Bed Bath & Beyond, but also apparently they own Bye Bye Baby.
Okay.
And that will close all of those stores by June 30th. It says, and then the very next sentence is, for now, all of their locations will remain open to serve customers.
Just
That's not
sell
very
every
long.
day?
Yeah, but that's not a very long time, though.
Well, they just probably want to, liquidate all this
Clear
stuff.
it all out.
But will Bed Bath & Beyond still be an online retailer, or is it just completely gone? Sometimes there's layers to bankruptcies and closings.
I think it's one of those things where they're filing for bankruptcy. Somebody's has the option to buy up the brand if they want and try to salvage it in some way or another, which could mean an online version of Bed Bath & Beyond, or it could just mean that this is the last we'll ever see of Bed
That's
Bath
it.
& Beyond. And I don't know if it has the sway of some other brands like Toys R Us that managed to avoid being dead. You know what I mean?
Even that, that's reincarnation. That's
it's a
not
little
doing.
sad.
It's not doing much. So they have a commitment from a financial company to allow it to keep operating during the bankruptcy process. But then at that point, that is where it all closes down.
So they can't just. Does this happen? Do they just say we're bankrupt and then everything instantly closes? Is that how it normally works?
This gives them enough time, I believe, to run while it is closing down. So it's not just instantaneous.
The real thing is now, if you got any Bed Bath & Beyond gift cards, go ahead and use those quickly.
I never would go there, except every so often you'd have to get a wedding gift or something. And that was the only place if people would register.
That's true.
That was the only time.
For a long time. Yeah. That's so, what if you had a wedding registry there and you're not getting married until after they close?
I don't think anybody's been doing anything there anytime soon.
Apparently not enough people. You have any... Is that your Bed Bath & Beyond memory?
I think that was it.
Registries?
My mom used to always, I think my mom liked going.
Yeah.
Because I remember something about she always got a coupon. And I remember I had to get a wedding gift for someone. She's like, wait, I have a coupon. Mm-hmm. So I think that's all I remember.
That is so similar to me that it's like a store for your mom.
Yes.
But now even your mom doesn't want to go.
No, they don't.
I don't think I'm trying to recall if I've ever gone into Bed Bath & Beyond without my mom being present.
Probably not.
And even then, a lot of times I would wait in the car.
So they blame the downfall, not only, of course, obviously, Amazon as being the main one, but they say for going into stores, Target and Walmart, it just can't compete.
I blame our moms.
Yeah, your mom.
They stopped going.
Ask your mom and say,
Yeah.
hey, where does your mom go now? And that is part of the reason why this is closing.
Yeah,
So
well-
it has until June 30th when all the stores will close.
Well, the end of an era. You want to go in one more time for old time's sake?
Is your mom here?
Yeah, maybe she wants to. I mean,
Oh, you
want
can
to
take
talk
your
about.
mom.
You
Oh,
wanna-
how does this sound for a day? You take your mom for lunch.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you go to Bed Bath & Beyond.
And you want to talk about coupons. Everything in there will be 70% off at least.
She's
Everything
gonna love
must
it.
go.
She's going to love it.
Hey, they're already eating anyways. Might as well do it on the show. The Riot with Nikki and Hudson. Radio U.
Nikki, Isaiah, I'm going to give you each one guess for which generation has been named the worst generation to work with by managers. You get to guess in 3, 2, 1.
The current generation.
What does that mean?
Well, what would it be now? What is the recent?
What's the youngest one?
What's the
because
youngest
old
one?
people like to complain about young people.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
So it'd be that one probably.
I thought you guys would just know it's Gen Z.
Okay. Well,
Gen Z is the youngest generation, and everybody hates them.
Everybody
hates us.
even everybody within the generation hates themselves.
Maybe a little bit. This is a survey of 1,344 people with managerial positions currently, and 79% of those as a manager right now say that Gen Z is the most difficult generation to work with at the workplace.
This is what's key. If you want to really have an opportunity to jump over everybody at workplaces, listen to the list of what they find difficult and don't be difficult with that. And then they'll love you
So
and they'll
we're just
promote
supposed to
you.
kowtow to our managers? Is that
In
what
the
you're saying?
beginning, yes.
So what is it that makes Gen Z so difficult? The top thing, according to this survey, is a lack of technological skills.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Then
thought
why
it
are you hiring all of us to do social media for you? That's crazy.
I see what you're saying there too.
Yeah, that was the top one. That was almost 40% of the managers said that
But
Gen
we can
Z.
fix everything.
Yeah, that's right. We just give us a computer. We'll just figure it out.
But I guess if you want to, do something that's an old style of technology, we don't know that.
Then next in a tie, you have the 4-way of lack of effort, lack of motivation, lack of productivity, and easily distracted. That's harsh.
That is a lot right there.
That's harsh, but what do you think about this, though? Do you think that when, what was before Gen Z, millennials? Like Gen Z right now, still, they consider it under the age of 26.
Yeah.
Isn't every generation not motivated, doesn't put in a lot of effort, not very productive, and easily distracted when you're 24 years old? Everybody's like that.
And the one after Gen Z, it'll be the same thing too.
That's
it'll just
right.
be probably even worse.
So that's just something that comes with being under 26, I would say. Now this, I've got a couple things here. One, to be charitable to Gen Z. I guess I kind of just was. But also to be charitable is they point out that for most, if you're in Gen Z, so you're under 26, most of your working life has been post like COVID and then thereafter. So a whole lot more remote work, which might be preferable to work from home. That also creates a lot of challenges that you don't get when you go and work hands-on and learn some places hands-on, which could contribute, I think, to the technological thing for sure.
It could. Well, for the next one, poor communication skills. Easily offended. That's every generation. A lack of drive. Google Drive, no. Dishonest and entitlement. So that's your list.
I think that applies to everybody.
I know a lot of this could be any generation.
Yeah, why don't you survey Gen Z about boomers and whatever F is before, all the people that are ahead of them and see how they feel about it.
Isaiah, do you think what's the worst on the list?
The worst one?
Yeah. Not like the top one, not the one that people like managers don't like the most. So what do we think is the worst on the list?
The worst to deal with?
Yeah.
I think the worst to deal with, probably like easily offended.
Easily offended?
Yeah.
Because if you don't do any work, I don't really care what you do at work-wise. But if I can't even talk to you, then that's when you get really annoying.
All right, there we go.
Well, there you have it.
So don't be entitled as well.
Yeah.
The Riot with Hudson and Nikki on Radio U.
Can anyone tell me what's going on in this video? It is a video. I mean, I can describe what's happening. It's just unclear to me what is going on. This is at a middle school in Kennewick, Washington, where so it's in a middle school gym. They've got a table set up. On the table, they have a window pane, like a piece of glass set up. It's like mounted and whatever.
Yeah.
And on the glass, on each side of the glass, there's 4 streaks of whipped cream.
Yeah. Oh, it's the licking one.
And then teachers and students are coming up and licking the spots of whipped cream
on each side.
On each side.
It's bad.
What is this?
It is poor judgment. It's wrong. And I don't know, like, if that started from a trend of like.
I don't think this is a trend.
Window licking. I don't know.
I know
window licking is back.
It never went away.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, if this isn't a game that I think any of us played in school,
No,
is it?
I've never seen this before.
So
I never got to play this one.
Never did.
Other ill-advised school games, but not this.
It's just more about it being very inappropriate looking.
Yeah.
And with there always being such a strange, teacher-student relationship
because
things.
I think it was clearly intentional from the setup of the game that the student and the teacher, their whipped cream spots are corresponding, so they're licking and like looking into each other's eyes
at the same time on the different
both
sides.
Simultaneously lick the glass.
I think, did the school get in trouble for it? Or
Yeah, there's definitely heads have been rolling. A spokesperson for the school district said the activity that occurred is not approved or endorsed by the district.
It doesn't even make sense.
No. And after conducting a thorough investigation into how and why this activity took place, it is clear that the intent of the activity was innocent and not ill-intended. I don't think anybody's saying otherwise.
Sure.
It's just also when you see something stupid like that, when somebody
Speak up.
Yeah, it must have been a really persuasive, hard to push back against person that came up with this idea.
I don't know. It's a very poor idea. So if anybody at work or class also says, hey, let's play nope, you say no.
Apparently nobody, it doesn't look like anybody's been fired or resigned.
I mean, how would you get fired for that, though?
It would be a crazy thing.
That'd be a crazy thing to get fired for.
Isaiah, I think it could be.
You would say, oh, you were the one who came up with the idea for the fundraiser?
Yeah.
You're freaking out. You're done.
You are out because that was
done.
wrong.
Can anybody even speak to the sanitariness of this?
Well, yeah, like.
Well, you're all looking at a different spot.
No,
It's a different spot, but it's still the same piece of
was
glass.
it
And you're
washed
like,
afterwards?
I mean, you'd think, right?
If
you don't
everybody
think that they just
used
went
it.
back up there and went, yep, let's just put another layer of whipped cream on there. Who's next? Get up here and start licking.
I don't know if anybody there had good judgment even in that. So
Right.
I'm not sure.
well, I was just confused by that. I didn't know if anybody else had seen this or also
weird.
similarly been confused and befuddled.
And I was also just wondering if anybody ever played that game. Like that was you're like, oh
Maybe
yeah,
it's
you never played that game in
The
high
whipped cream
school.
liquor game.
No. And they said that all future activities will meet the highest professional standards and adhere to district policy.
To be fair, that probably means they're not going to be any fun.
Yeah, you're not.
You just can't have any fun anymore.
Well, I mean, it seemed wrong what they chose was fun.
Yeah,
So.
that's a Kennewick tradition, I think, is the only explanation.
Hudson and Isaiah seem like they know a lot about sports, yet somehow it's Nikki that always gets it right. The Riot, Radio U.
I don't know if you guys saw this. Have you seen the footage of about 2,000 Miller High Life cans getting all dumped out intentionally and then destroyed?
Like recycled or you mean like
surely they were recycled.
they weren't even selling them?
They weren't allowed to be sold. Would you like to know why this would even happen?
Why?
It is because for some reason Miller High Life cans, you know their slogan, right? The champagne of beers.
That's their slogan?
Yeah, because it's like fancy. It's like
It's fancy beer?
You're on the high life, baby.
yeah, living the high life.
Which, if you have to say that, is probably not fancy beer.
It's a lot fancier than Bud Light.
Is it?
I think so. And so that's their slogan. But if you go into anywhere in Europe,
Yeah.
you're not allowed to label anything champagne unless it actually comes from the Champagne region of France.
Oh.
So these cans
misleading.
were on their way to Germany, and they said the champagne of beers on them, but they weren't allowed to say that, and thus all of the cans had to be systematically cracked open, dumped out somewhere, and then the cans had to be destroyed, never to be seen again.
So you're saying at a processing plant they had a real big party? They just poured them all out.
Yeah, I mean, you would actually think that, wouldn't you? You would think like, you know what? I'll take care of destroying these.
But they're not allowed to do that.
No, there's actually like pictures and everything of some guy just dumping them all out. It looks like one guy had to do it like all by himself.
Aw, he
2,000
did?
cans. Sure looks like it. But yeah, that's European regulation. But you want to know the real odd thing about this whole situation? Miller High Life isn't even sold in Europe.
Well, then why do they have it in Germany?
That's the question, isn't it?
It was just a thing?
Yeah, Miller is like, we don't we abide by all the regulations and whatever, but we respect local restrictions. We don't send this stuff to
Don't even know how it got
to Germany.
over there.
So yeah, it's not we have nothing to do with it.
So again, this is not regulations in the United States, where now a lot of things have been just getting in trouble because it makes the appearance of like, oh, there's champagne in the beer.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It's just the slogan with it. But this is European regulations where if something says champagne on it, no matter what the context is, it's supposed to be it coming from the Champagne region. And if it's not, then they have to destroy it.
Here in the United States, alcohol containers can look like just about anything.
And say just about anything on
They
them.
can, yeah.
So now I think people they're starting to, file lawsuits against companies that are trying to mislead a little bit more than normal.
Wherever there's a dollar to be made.
They'll do
Although
it.
it is, we've talked about before how the line between being able to tell something's alcoholic or not gets blurrier and blurrier. And now at my gas station, they've started putting alcohol, like cans of like the Monster they have their own alcoholic drink.
Yeah.
It's
The
called
Monster one?
Beast.
Yeah.
And that and other alcoholic drinks are mixed in with the sodas, like literally side by side in the same cooler. And so that's where I start to raise my eyebrows. I was like, somebody could easily be fooled
You can't
by this whole thing.
If you're just going in for a soda, you might come out with alcohol or an energy drink. You don't know what you're
Or
getting.
maybe you walk in for
Or
alcohol and you
champagne.
accidentally walk out with a Monster.
It could
And
be.
don't even realize.
There's a lot of confusion.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The Worst of the Riot. Radio U.
It's that time of year. Maxim Magazine has put out their Hot 100 list in their May and June edition of the magazine. So we have a new sexiest woman, according to Maxim. First of all, do you know who this woman is? Her name is Ashley Graham. You heard of her?
She's a model.
She's a model. You've heard of her?
Yeah, she's a model.
You're familiar? Isaiah, were you familiar?
I've never heard of her.
Never heard of her. Do you know what's noteworthy? Obviously noteworthy that she's been named the sexiest woman by Maxim, but do you know as far as sexiest women goes?
I didn't know Maxim was still around to do that.
Yeah, they are. They've been doing this since 2000.
I feel
Still
like
going strong.
a lot of the hot lists took a pause for a bit.
Yeah. No, what could possibly be wrong about this? They really changed their ways several years ago. Maxim used to, until the year 2015, rank the 100 hottest women in order.
Oh, really?
But now
You're not allowed to
there's
do
just
that.
the sexiest woman and then 99 oters in no
Beautiful
particular order.
runner-ups.
Yes,
I
that's
see.
right.
Oh, I was wondering. I was trying to find the list of like who came in second.
No, they're not doing
They may
it.
not-
So dumb.
They may not have put out.
Such a dumb idea.
Would you like to put out your list?
I was going to say, I was going to look down the list and say who my number one would have been,
Well,
but
you
now
can
I
still-
can't even do that.
You can still say if it's not Ashley Graham, though. You disagree with that?
No, I like pulled up the list, and the first person that popped up was Margot Robbie, so pretty hard to beat that one.
Solid,
and then
but-
it was Ana de Armas, my celebrity crush, so hard to beat that one too.
So the reason, let's get back on track. The reason that Ashley Graham is noteworthy among the hottest women in the world is because she is the first plus size model to win, I guess if you call it winning, to be awarded the title of Sexiest Woman by Maxim Magazine. She's also the oldest. She's 35.
Oh, okay. I didn't know she was older.
Yeah, she's 35. She just gave birth to twins not long ago. But I'll tell you what I'm learning here is that I have no idea what a plus size model is.
Well, I mean, just maybe not fitting the traditional beauty size for models.
If I was thinking plus
which I think
size,
is almost everybody else.
yeah, I mean, she's not. I mean, you look at her picture; she's not like a minus size model.
Sure.
But she just looks normal to me. So I don't know what plus size is.
But remember,
I have no idea.
In fashion and modeling, normal is considered like way
Tiny.
over.
Yeah.
No, like way bigger. Whereas if you're a model, you're super small.
Yeah.
Like was super, super small.
So it's, in a way, plus size model is like offensive to normal people.
Well, no, because you look and you're like, that is just smaller size. I mean, it's just different. They say that she was founded or discovered in a mall in Nebraska when she was age 12.
That sounds normal.
So if you want to be discovered, can you still go to a mall? I don't know if that still works. How do you make it?
Go try modeling at the mall. See how it works for you as a
See
12-year-old.
if you can do that. So she was number one, but then remember, they're no longer doing the rest of the list. But everybody's beautiful.
There's
so.
99 other beautiful women that made the cut, and then if you're 101, sorry.
You're not in it?
Yeah, so congratulations to her. It's a learning experience for me. It really is.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
You know, it'd be a good project we should do. What if we all kept like little journals?
Oh.
Or like, I guess you could do it in the Notes app on your phone.
Yeah.
And
We used
just,
to have a RadioU journal.
yeah, right, we did.
We did.
But then everybody
They're
just was
long
using
gone.
their phones.
I know, but that was a more classic way to
That
journal.
was. Sometimes it feels good to actually write, but not very often. But what if you just like kept track in your notes of like all the times you get angry every day,
That'd be a lot of journaling.
and then you wrote down, and then you had to go back later and look at it?
Sure.
I guess your Twitter from years ago might be kind of.
Well, it's not a bad idea though, because then it shows you like what is your triggering, like what do you tend to get the most, not even angry, but like what do you get upset about?
There's different levels, right?
Different levels of it. So then you look back and see, well, what's causing the anger?
I think if we all did that, I think most people probably notice that you do that you get angry about stuff that's really stupid when you're outside of it, or just irritated. Because I was thinking even today, the day's not very old, and I've
You already got angry?
I already have been irritated at least once because on my way to work, I was at a stoplight, and there was a guy in the lane beside me also at the stoplight, and when this is, mind you, at like 4:45 a.m., and you could see the lights going in the opposite lane.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the crossway, they were yellow. And as soon as they started to turn yellow, he started inching forward, kept going, kept going until the light finally turned green. And I was irritated at that because I was like, we're the only people on the road. If you're in that much of a hurry, just run the red light.
Just go for it.
Yeah, why are you letting the lights dictate? What is that saving you by slowly inching forward? I thought it was ridiculous. But then I mean, it is ridiculous, but also, what do I care?
Sure.
Why am I getting irritated by it? It was just something little that you noticed. But that's like, there's a million different things like that almost every day. And anger is just one of those things where, I mean, obviously there's different levels. And it's not always a bad thing, but when we get so angry so often about such small stuff, that can't be good for us.
Well, it's not good emotionally for us, health-wise for us. Like, don't put that on yourself.
It's got to take years off of my life being so angry.
Not
at such
only just
small
you getting
things.
up so early in the morning, but
Yeah.
being agitated so early
Maybe,
in the morning.
maybe that does contribute that I was
You're tired.
that I got like 5 hours of sleep. But nevertheless, I think anger is just one of those things, and there's a lot of them that can be healthy and can be useful in certain instances. But so often we just let it run rampant in our lives, get into all these other areas, get out of control, and then it actually winds up hurting us. But here's what I want to let you know. If you struggle with anger, and I think just because you don't need anger management doesn't mean that you're not like me and you get upset about little stuff all the time. But that can be dealt with. That can be focused a little more so that your anger is actually going towards stuff that's actually important, and you're not wasting your day and wasting your energy being upset about other stuff. Jesus wants to help you with that. Jesus, when you have him, He's a calming presence. He's going to
He's
come
like
into
your journaling.
That's right. That can kind of check you and be like, hey, you're really going to waste your energy and like your mental space worrying about this, being mad about this. And then he'll help you focus on the stuff that actually matters and where your anger can actually be channeled into something positive. Start talking to God about it and let him show you what that actually means. Just say, hey, Jesus, I'm ready for some help with this. I'm ready to look at things a little differently. Help me out here. And he definitely will. And he'll help you with a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with anger as well. RadioU.com/free gift if you want to know more.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
A plane from Columbus to Phoenix was making a flight yesterday morning, and it was forced to make an emergency landing short after takeoff. Have you guys seen the video of this?
Is that the one plane that had the engine on fire?
Yeah.
Or the wing part of it?
One of the engines caught fire. And so what's really wild is there's a video of it. One of the passengers took from their window where they can see the wing, and you can see the engine on the wing shooting out flames every like 3 seconds or whatever.
That'll scare you.
Yeah, it's real frightening to see. So they wound up, that happened very shortly after takeoff. So they were leaving from Columbus, got up into the air, and turned right back around and landed in Columbus. Turns out one of the passengers and then said they saw this happen, and then the pilots and then later mechanics, after they were able to investigate, confirmed that a flock of geese flew into the engine.
Poor geese. What a way to go. That's not what you want.
Yeah, but I mean...
You know, like, have you ever had an animal bump your car and you thought, I wonder if they lived? You know, like they scurried off. I don't think the geese made
did not
it.
They didn't make it,
Is
no.
that blood on the wing?
Wait, where are you seeing that?
Look at the picture.
Well, it does look like
That's
that, doesn't it? No!
It's either like whatever they use to spray the flames and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it looks like
Dang.
geese blood.
That means that somebody like there's just like dead geese falling from the sky.
I don't think it was hard for them to confirm if it was the flock of geese too.
But I don't want to say. I'm just gonna say it. Don't the geese kind of deserve it?
Why?
It's a big sky. How do you fly into a plane?
It's their sky.
The plane sky. The plane owns it. It won the battle.
They said they stuck a flock of geese, and then the engine started making a real loud clonk, clonk, clonk noise, and then they turned the engine.
That was the geese honking their last honks.
That was it. They turned the engine off and then turned around and went back to the airport.
It's surprising that a plane can't get through a flock of geese, though. Like, you're able to fly like hundreds and hundreds of miles through the air. You have this humongous engine, yet if a flock of geese hits you, you are going down.
It can go through like lightning storms and stuff
exactly.
like that, high winds.
Bird strikes are more common than you think it is.
You think the guy...
And isn't that a gaggle of geese? Isn't that what you call a flock
gaggle.
of geese?
If you can't get through
That's
a
right.
gaggle, then that's really even important, you know?
Yeah.
If you can't make it that way.
It sounds so much worse when you actually say it was a gaggle of geese.
A gaggle, it sounds even wimpier. Like, the plane can't fly through a gaggle.
What did you expect us to do? We flew into a gaggle. I don't know what's supposed to, what you expect this plane to
Like,
do.
you would think the engine would just like incinerate them. It's so big and strong.
I mean,
but
it
apparently
definitely
not.
did.
It did.
But you couldn't get through it for real?
They just couldn't put the fire out.
I mean, maybe it would have been okay. But
would
you know
just
what?
think.
I feel like I was thinking this. When you see the video of the plane's wing shooting out fire like that, normally, like if a plane takes off and then lands right away, the passengers might be like, "Oh, come on!" I think in this case they probably cheered and were happy to be back on the ground.
Well, you're just thankful that it was close enough to where you took off from, because otherwise you have to land at a different airport.
Yeah.
They're not going to do that long flight without checking something.
Yeah,
so
for
I
sure.
think they had to get another plane.
Yeah.
So they had to go through all that.
Do you think this is what happened with Sully, right?
Yeah.
Where he landed in the Hudson River?
Yeah.
You think the pilot started thinking that as soon as
Like he's going to be a hero?
he's like, they're going to make Tom Hanks is going to be in a movie about me.
You just re-landed at the airport, but it's still
He did the same thing, though.
still very safe.
He didn't land it in the river. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
he did even better. He landed it where it's supposed to go.
He made it back, and then everybody involved obviously congratulated for making it a safe situation after the
I guess
geese.
that's a reward all its own.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow at RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
We have here a test. It's called the Food Disgust Test. It was developed by researchers at Technical University of Zurich. And it tells you basically how easily grossed out you are by different foods.
And I thought it'd be more like just, hey, you don't like this particular type of food and you're very picky. But it also really seems to cover like hygiene stuff.
Yeah, it's the different aspects of food, like other people touching it, sharing a glass with people, stuff like that, eating bugs or like bugs in a restaurant, stuff like that.
Yeah.
What certain things really get to you? So, and then it shows you which areas you have a high sensitivity at, and then also your overall score of 1 to 100 for your level of food disgust. So
who's the most disgusted?
Yeah, who wants to share their score first?
Isaiah, let's hear your score.
I don't really know how to read my chart, but
Well, on the bottom it says your food disgust is average what? So what is your average?
43.8%.
43, that's low.
What's your focus on? Because then it gives you like a circle with
Yeah.
like
The one that's the highest
Hygiene.
filled in is hygiene.
hygiene.
Huh? And what's your lowest? What's the one that has like no anything in it?
Animal flesh has nothing in it. Fruit has pretty much nothing in it. Human contaminants pretty much nothing in it. Those are my lowest ones.
Okay.
Nikki?
I am. We're the same. I'm at 44.75. And hygiene is my big problem.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If it's gross, I'm not doing it that way. And then my lowest would be like fruit. Like fruit doesn't bother me if it's the banana has a brown spot or something.
Yeah.
Doesn't bother me.
See, the one that...
But mold does.
yeah.
And insects.
My score was... they say my score is elevated.
Yeah.
70.5.
70.5.
Yeah. Well, I gave my mold section is almost entirely filled in.
Yeah.
Because I would not eat anything with mold.
So like they were
Yeah.
asking, hey, if cheese very commonly can get mold on it.
Yeah.
But a lot of times people cut that
Cut it
layer
off,
on
yeah.
and then you
Right.
can eat below it, and that's very common. But you're saying like that would disgust
But
you.
I've also seen, that I just saw this recently, so maybe this is why my mold score is even elevated. And I would never eat like a piece of bread that had mold on it anywhere
Well,
on
yeah,
it.
but like, what if they cut it off?
No, because what you're seeing of the mold is not all of the mold.
there's
There's
more
visible
than
mold.
you
Yeah,
realize.
yeah.
There's visible mold on it. That means there's other not invisible mold that's infected throughout. So that maybe heightened my current awareness to the mold being
Yeah.
disgusting. But I had almost nothing on animal flesh, but I also had very high on insects because I thought like a worm crawling through an apple.
Too much.
Yeah, that sounds horrible to me. And the question, and surprise, but there's the one question that doesn't fall into any of those categories that grossed me out the worst. And you know what it was?
What?
Finding a hair in your soup.
Oh, now, yeah, we all.
That is
We're not
full
continuing.
on gag, and I'm done right there.
What if it's your hair? What if you can guarantee it's your hair?
If I know it's my hair, then I can move on, but I'm still upset. But if it's if I don't know where the hair came from, that's me. That's five alarm fire for me.
Well, it's like 30-something questions. So if you want to take your food disgust and see at this point, can you get a higher score than
me.
Hudson?
Then Hudson, I don't know
Yeah,
if
I
you
didn't
can.
realize.
Ooh, you're
I
way
was
higher.
so easily triggered. by
Nearly
food.
double us.
Yeah.
I guess if you're going to invite anybody to have dinner somewhere, it should be Isaiah and I, because we'll be more accommodating if there's any problems.
But I'll evidently be more hygienic.
I don't guess. You are really hygienic.
Hudson, Nikki, The Riot on Radio U.
One way to make yourself more attractive is to play an instrument, to learn how to play an instrument.
Ooh.
Yeah, people really think that playing an instrument improves attractiveness. And in fact, I have a ranking of the instruments that are considered the sexiest to play
If you
according
play it?
to a survey.
Well-
Do you have an idea? Okay, let's do it this way. Let's say you're scrolling through Tinder
Yeah.
and you see people, and like every picture is somebody with a different various instrument.
Yeah. What would be?
Which one is the sexiest? Which one are you most likely to swipe right on?
Well, if you're a vocalist, that's a shame. So
Yeah, you can't really show that off,
really
right?
show that off. I guess either a drummer or a guitarist.
Drummer, interesting choice.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you think that is?
Well, I don't know. I mean, usually they're pretty fit, with
Yeah.
all the drumming and stuff. And I don't know, just it's an active part of the band.
Yeah, I don't know about the fit part, But I do think that like the drummer always seems to have a different attitude, you know?
Yeah.
Like he's the fun guy of the band, I think. Like just fun, rolls with the punches type guy, usually. What about you, Isaiah? And this will be interesting because you're thinking it from like you're looking at ladies playing instruments.
I think
that definitely changes things, don't you think?
I think if you got an
clarinet.
an instrument in your profile, I think that's kind of a red flag.
You don't
You
like
do.
it?
That's just not really my style.
What if it
Every
wasn't
instrument
like,
though, or
I don't think there's an instrument that I could see on there.
What if
that
it
I would
wasn't
be like,
your
yeah,
main profile, but it was like a couple pictures in?
Yeah.
no.
Nope.
No?
Okay.
For me, it's just not my style. It's just not my style. I think for somebody else it could work, but for me, probably no.
There's not a single instrument you could see a gal in her picture and you'd be like, wow, that's impressive. Like,
No, because
pretty
I think
hot.
like at this point in my life, like I'm like 24 years old.
Yeah.
Like if your thing is like playing the flute, I don't see you as being a good match. That's your big plans for a Saturday night. We're probably not going to work out very well. If I had to go out on a limb and guess, nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying for me,
Okay. Can
it's
I tell
probably
you
not
though,
a great match.
as someone who played the flute like that, if you're going to meet a girl, that's probably the instrument she did play.
Yeah, probably.
Because everybody
Which is
in band-
I
okay.
got one other though.
Okay.
Violin.
Violin,
That's the
sure.
top lady instrument to me. And
lady instrument.
So you're saying that if a girl had a violin on her Tinder profile, you'd be like, yeah.
that's not. No, I think of when I think of an instrument a lady would play. I'm thinking of a violin.
Oh, I went
is the
flute.
top one that
I
comes
went
to
flute.
mind. But I think you know what?
If we went on a date, I show up and she's like, "Would you like me to play the violin for you?" I'd be like, "No, I'd like
That's
to
a
leave."
few dates in, all right? That's
but
not the first date.
to me, if you're playing violin,
she brings it
or,
with her.
Yes, it's
or
with
like
her.
the bassoon or something,
Yeah.
that signals to me that you're like pretty cultured and that you probably have things like you got things figured out a little bit.
If
you know,
you're-
like you're a little fancy.
If
and
you're
I like
a musician with some of those instruments, then you're probably out of the league of some people
That's right.
because you know it's especially if you're in like classical music.
That's what I'm thinking. If I know a lady that's playing again like the bassoon, she's not going to date me. Just because I've seen Tar doesn't mean that we're going to have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
But it is pretty cool to me. You want to know the actual list?
What's the actual list
Guitar was number 1, 26%.
for the sexiest instrument if
Yeah.
you're trying to get a date?
Number 2, and this is right. I laughed out loud when I saw this, but it's so true. Saxophone was a close second, 25%.
Got a
Sure.
sexy sound.
I don't know if I saw a lady playing the saxophone, it'd be like, that's cool. But if I think of a guy playing the saxophone, that's a sexy guy. You can't play the saxophone and not be sexy. Look at Kenny G.
You got to feel.
Uh-huh.
You got to look.
Yeah, and then piano, violin.
Oh yeah, piano.
Yeah.
We love a good
About
man.
that.
Who can play the piano.
That kind of is a good meet in the middle one. Too,
I think
right?
so.
Yeah.
Unless you're being
Judged by Isaiah.
judged by he's not even
I
gonna
think
agree with
it's
that.
cool that you can do it. I just don't
said-
think it's for me.
If you're playing the
There's
flute
no
on a
saving
Saturday
you on
night, I don't
this.
think we're a good match.
I just don't think we are. I
don't think-
don't think we are.
I don't think anybody plays the flute on
You're
a
gonna-
Saturday night.
There is somebody, and that if it's in their Tinder profile, they for sure play it on Saturday nights.
You're gonna run out of options.
Yeah.
The words too expensive aren't in Nikki's vocabulary. This is The Riot. Radio U.
Now, I've found that you guys seem to have strong opinions on names.
Yeah.
A lot of times we'll talk about what different people name their kids, and if it's anything off the beaten path, I often think you guys often seem to be like, no, you can't do that.
Well, I think we just tend to not want to agree with you.
I have noticed that too. You guys are very obstinate. But I'm interested to see, because this isn't a baby. This
Yeah.
is a grown adult in this case, what you make of this. There's a gal on TikTok. Her name is Bailey. That's her first name. And now her last name is also Bailey.
She got married to a person who
She
has the
got
last name
married to
Bailey.
a Bailey. And so she's now Bailey.
Oh,
and
that's
it's spelled the
rough.
same.
Wow, that's hard.
And she says that she was totally fine with it, that she thought it was important to change her last name to keep with tradition. That was something that meant a lot to her.
Yeah.
And so.
And you're not probably going to go change your first name. So, like,
Yeah.
what are you going to do at that point?
Is that, I'm just curious what you would do. Would you? Some
Never
people
date
suggest
someone who has the last name Nikki.
That's just a red
Yeah, there
flag
you go.
automatic
would
out.
never be Nikki. Mostly because then.
That'd be so cute, though.
Okay, actually, that would be
That would
kind of
be-
cute. But it's more because, you're always having a thing. Like every time you introduce yourself, every time you have to write your name down, they're like, "Oh, ma'am, you made a mistake. You
Yep.
put Nikki."
True.
Like I think that would just get so old.
You could have like a nickname.
Yeah.
She could go by like Bailey.
Babe. You think
Or
that's
B.
better?
She could buy B, I guess. I don't know.
Bailey?
Something.
I don't know if you can make that
Lee.
work.
She could buy Lee, I guess. L-E-Y.
Her middle name is Grace, so
That could
By
work.
she could be Grace Bailey.
That could
There you
work.
But
go.
she's gone by Bailey her whole life.
Well,
so
maybe
why
she
should
has a
have to
nickname, you
change?
know?
But she's always gone by Bailey.
Maybe she hasn't. Maybe she's went by Lee her whole life, and now she's Lee Bailey.
You know,
No,
she's
she did. She would always go by Bailey.
What about some people are suggesting, and this is kind of what I've got an example here. You know, Lauren Bush. She's the granddaughter of former President George H.W. Bush.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know she married David Lauren, who is the son of Ralph Lauren?
Who are Lauren?
So she did the Lauren Bush route.
Oh, to break it up
Do
a
you
bit.
think that's better or worse?
Still
Because
worse?
she could have done the two last names or hyphenated last name. You think that's worse?
I don't know if there's a way to make it work.
I feel like
but
that's worse.
She has a good attitude about it. That's
She
at
does.
least that's
And
at
what
least
is
something.
She's supposed to not fall in love with somebody with the same last name as her first name.
Well, everybody just told her don't change your last name, but she felt like because of tradition felt important to her, so she never thought she wouldn't change her last name. She just never thought she'd marry someone with the same last name or last name that was her first name.
Yeah, but you can't break up with somebody just for that, though.
No, I think it's fine. It's not that big of a deal.
It's not that big of a deal, right?
Like, you guys probably don't even know my last name.
I know your last name.
Yeah, I know you guys do, but you don't think about it, you know?
Yeah, we
And
don't
I
think-
can't
Yeah.
remember your guys' last names all the time. Because when we started this segment, I was like, what are their last names
Yeah.
again?
That's because you're not supposed to ever say our last name.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's
Yeah.
just a point for radio.
Yeah, but did you also know that, DJ Khaled,
Yeah.
his name is Khaled Khaled?
No way.
It is.
And you'd never
That's his
would
real
know.
name.
Wow. All right. So maybe this is more a
So
thing
maybe
than
she
we
should
realize.
be DJ Bailey.
That could work
Could
too.
be an alternative, but it's just another one of those things. Because other people are going to be annoying, she should change. I don't think so.
She doesn't want to.
And people won't know anyway. She'll meet people every day that'll never know her last name.
Yeah, and she'll be fine.
While Isaiah is wishing for a girlfriend, Nikki and Hudson are just wishing for any friend at all. The Riot. Radio U.
The NBA playoffs continued. It was a tough weekend for our boy over here, Isaiah.
I wouldn't say so.
You don't think so? The Cavs lost twice since we last talked, I believe.
Are they still in? Or?
they're still playing.
They're still
Okay.
around.
He's not panicking yet.
No.
They're okay. I mean, only like since 2000, 7 teams have came back from this deficit, but
You're
we
not
could do it,
counting.
I
Less
guess.
than once a year it happened. Once every other year. So maybe this could be the year.
Once every 3 years.
He's
Yeah.
not giving up yet.
But the Cavs did lose to the Knicks yesterday. They're now down 3-1. So that's a tough spot for them. Do you really believe, though, based
Hudson-
off of the way the games have gone?
Hudson, we haven't even scored 100 points
Oh no.
in the past 2 games.
Yeah.
You think we're going to win a game? We scored 76 points 2 nights ago. What do you think I think? We're
He's
probably not going to win.
giving up. Please do not.
Don't they call it Believe Land?
Hudson, we scored 76 points 2 nights ago. Yesterday, our best player scored 9 points.
That happens from time to time.
Does it happen 2 games in a row? We scored 76 and 87. We're an NBA team. What are you, crazy?
Well,
I didn't think
okay,
I
so
was going to
that's
be more
hard.
optimistic than you about
We're down
about the
3-1, and
Cavs.
Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, our 2 best players,
Yeah.
have combined for like 66 points in the past 3 games.
A lot of people are listening and going, is that good?
No, that's bad. That's terribly bad.
It's not going
No, it
well.
doesn't
It's
sound
not
good.
Averaging like 10 points per
scoring
game.
enough. So even though they're losing, they're just losing and not even scoring enough.
Yeah, so that's bad for them. Also, this is an interesting one. Tonight, you have the Heat against the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
The Heat are up 2-1, and Giannis is still questionable for tonight's game. Obviously, the Bucks' best player and possibly the best player in the entire league. So the Bucks could be down 3-1 after tonight. That would be a huge shakeup to the playoffs if the Bucks were to go out. And I guess to again frame it through the Cavs' eyes, really an insult to injury that the Cavs could have had the Heat in the second round if they just could have gotten through the
Yep.
first round.
Might have been. Aw.
Yeah. But in another story tonight, Lakers against the Grizzlies. The Lakers have a chance to go up 3-1.
Gosh, no offense, guys, but like we're not even done with this first part
first
of the
round.
playoffs.
Nope.
These things are long.
Actually, I do take offense to that.
It's just when does it end?
Oh, we got months.
I think we've been
Nikki.
through this. It's like June.
I know, but I
A month
mean,
now. April, May, June. Yeah, we got 2 months left.
so like every time the teams play, they have to get the best out of 7 for each thing going into it.
Yes, that is
Every
correct.
time.
All right.
And so tonight it'll just be another exciting twist in the turn and of the path of the NBA playoffs.
I guess it is kind of better if you get more games out of it because if a team just keeps beating, then you don't have as many games in the series. So
Yeah, but you
don't
know
get
it's
as
no
much
fun to watch your team lose 4 games in a row.
rather
Yeah.
quickly.
Even though
don't
you
keep
do
bringing
get
up the
4
Cavs.
chances, it is a whole lot less fun.
Okay, so tonight is the Lakers and the Grizzlies.
Grizzlies.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's the one to watch.
So you can go watch LeBron tonight.
Yeah, I'm taking the Grizzlies, by the way. If anybody-
Okay.
You think they're gonna win?
Yeah, they can't. They also played really bad in Game 3, which means they got it. They can't be that bad.
You
in
know,
Game
that's
4.
what I said. Oddly enough, I said Game 3 we were terrible. Game 4 we've got to figure it out.
Yeah, they can't
We
possibly be that
didn't.
ad 2 games in a row.
We
Okay,
were.
well,
We were.
Grizzlies it is then.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.
Did you see the big story out of the NFL that broke on late on Friday regarding the gambling situation?
Oh, the one I didn't know the player, but I saw it trending. Was he betting on his own games or what was he betting on?
I didn't actually see. Do you
I
know,
saw
Isaiah?
it looked like he was betting on like NBA games, which is allowed, but the issue was he made the bet in his locker room, which is not permitted. Had he made it outside, would have been
Interesting.
permitted, but since he was in his own locker room, then it was a big deal.
And
So-
he plays for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, that's Jamison Williams, was the biggest name out of the story. So he's been suspended for 6 games for just that, right? Just for betting on the NBA while in his locker room. But then there was also maybe slightly less noteworthy players, but 4 other players were also suspended, including some have been suspended indefinitely and then were therefore released by their teams, including Quintez Cephas is another bigger name, CJ Moore. They're both from the Lions, and they were both.
So the Lions are losing a few.
Yeah, apparently. And did you get to look into what those guys were betting? Because their
They were
suspensions were
betting
different.
NFL.
Yeah, which is, I've said this on the show before. They should be suspended indefinitely. They should be out of the league. You can't be so dumb. Like, it's not the worst thing that you can do to bet on the NFL as an NFL player, but it is the dumbest thing you can do.
Because you're automatically out.
Because you should just know that you can't do that.
Yeah.
It's not like they keep that a secret.
It
And
wasn't their own team, if you're wondering. It was other teams.
so that
If
makes
that makes you feel better.
it's
Actually, I always wonder that. It's like,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
worse?
I mean, if you bet on your own team, you would be.
If you bet on
and
your own
were
team,
gonna
you're an
play,
idiot.
You're
yeah,
out.
you would be kicked out of the league for sure. But
Betting
Calvin
on other
Ridley,
teams,
though,
meh.
Calvin Ridley bet on his own team, but he was injured, so it didn't count. He was only suspended for a year, which is also outrageous. It's just crazy that these guys either think they can get away with it or don't know. I don't know what it is or why you would think that.
But know this is an onion, which means these are just a few of the many players that are probably gambling a lot in the NFL. So I bet you if they kept peeling away, there'd be some teams that would really lose a lot of players.
I don't know about that.
I think so.
I think you
You
just
think?
can't help
Yeah.
but gambling's a big issue, and I think you probably just can't help with when you're in that environment and everybody's just with games and stuff. And you have a lot of money, and that's probably what happens.
I think there's going to be more to come. I think there's people are going to continue to get in trouble for it. I think it's going to continue on.
I think there's going to be a few stragglers, but it's so regulated, and it's not just the NFL stands to lose a lot, and any above board gambling institution also does, that they can't allow. That's why they have to do so many you have to put in so much information to be able to place a bet.
Yeah.
That it just they can't stand,
Well, I
and
bet
that's why
you-
they have to suspend these guys for doing it because it's so stupid.
In every locker room, they'll be like, "What you doing?
What's going on there?
What you looking at on your phone?"
I think the whole him getting suspended for making the bet in the locker room is pretty silly though.
That is,
for 6
for
months.
the NBA, that's kind of.
Like, how dumb is that? You made a bet in the locker room. If he had
Yeah.
stepped outside, it's totally fine. But
He
since he
would've
was
been
in
in
the
trouble.
locker room, he's out for 6 games. That seems kind of crazy.
It's a little goofy, but I mean, I think again because everybody stands so much to lose, they got to be safe than sorry, and so now these guys are sorry.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
We need to come up with a show stance on artificial intelligence, I think, because it's just getting more and more prevalent, right? And certain researchers in the AI community are getting very concerned. In fact, I have here from one AI expert who claims that 50% of AI researchers believe there's a 10% or greater chance that humans could go extinct from our inability to control AI.
Okay, so like, are we talking the robots would take over and kill us all, or the robots would take over and we just die off?
I think either one, right?
Either way.
Extinction, is that how you want us to... Would that be an appropriate way for humanity to go?
No, but you know how like they wonder like
we just die comfortably kind
will
of
there
thing?
Be jobs? So like, okay,
That's what I'm thinking.
No one has work anymore, and then there's no food or there's no this or that because it just all turns into AI.
Is that so? That's what you're concerned about more
I guess.
Me too.
than the AI like becoming. It's like some people often think of like the AI is just going to like it's going to be two teams. There's going to be the human team and the AI team.
Yeah.
And then the AI team, we're going to go to war and the AI would win. But
Obviously.
I don't think that is actually when you talk to like AI research, I don't think that's what they see as most likely.
Yeah.
It would be either the AI makes a mistake and sets off nuclear weapons or something like that, or like the AI has such a singular focus that we get in the way of type thing, where it's
Sure.
not even a war. It's just like in the hopes of efficiency of accomplishing its goal, it actually is a detriment to humans in some way.
I guess it is. I mean, it's interesting to think about. They say that AI could cause a catastrophe that we would have no way to absolutely fix.
Do you think so? What do you think is what is it? They say 10% or greater chance.
Yeah. I'm the person who likes to just not worry about it.
Same.
I don't know if anybody
Well,
else
that'll make it go away.
likes that approach. I don't know if it'll go away, but like, will it ever be in my time? I don't worry.
Not
I like
your
the way you think.
Not your problem is
Not my problem.
Nikki's stance on the AI.
Just concerned from a distance. Maybe that's it.
What about you, Isaiah? Are you actually concerned?
I'm not really concerned about it. I just think like, at some point we don't have to keep on advancing, That's how I feel about it.
Are we
I like
good
that.
enough?
That's how I feel. Yeah, I feel like we're pretty solid right now. I like when everybody has a job. I think that's important for you to have a job. So if we just keep on making the AI people and whatnot, there's less jobs. I thought we wanted more jobs.
You think an AI could do your job better than you?
100%. 100%.
Don't tell people that now, all right? But there's a lot of things that no one wants to do anymore. So if it fills in for those areas, you just wonder where it goes
But
from
how
there.
do we determine that fairly? Because even if there's like if we did a
stop
survey,
doing certain things.
if we did a survey of a lot of things, there'd probably be at least a few people like, yeah, I'd still do that.
Exactly.
So does that mean we can't do AI for any of those things? Or?
No, I think it's fine, but I mean, drive around, see where there's holes in people working right now, and sure, it could do that.
Okay. Do you think AI is the most likely thing to end humanity?
Why do we have to think about that?
Why
What wild questions.
Because we got to think about it now before it's actually before it's in danger.
My
Maybe.
stance is it won't end before I end,
There
so
we go.
therefore I'm okay with whatever. However it ends, I won't know.
It'll just be too late. I don't know. I don't know enough. I'm not sure.
It seems the most likely to me.
Okay, well, that's you then saying yes.
I'm
yes.
thinking
Believe that.
dinosaurs.
You
Dinosaurs are the most likely.
I think odds are similar. Yet again, both things won't happen while I'm alive.
Okay.
That's the
what
fun
we
thing. We
think.
can make a prediction and we can never be proven right or wrong.
Precisely.
Thanks for listening to the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Oh no! I missed it! Do it again!
You can hear us live every day on the Radio U network through the Radio U app or at riot.radiou.com.